dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about the open world zombies experience coming to Black Ops 7 that isn't exactly Outbreak. Definitely stay tuned. Now, if you're watching this video after Sunday night when it's posted, don't worry, it's not going to be out of date with all the zombies reveals that we're likely going to be getting this week. I do believe Treyarch's new marketing they dropped earlier today is a signal that this will be the week where they share a bunch of new details about the Transit remake, the farm survival experience, and just round-based altogether. But funny enough, this video actually has little to do with actual round-based inside of Black Ops 7 zombies. We'll get back to that in a second, but with the teaser we did get earlier today, they said, and I quote, "Every direction leads to death." You can see a compass going crazy there on the table, and you could also see a bunch of jumper cables. I believe this is a hint as to what is likely going to be a bunch of marketing surrounding the Wonder vehicle, which will replace the classic bus in the Transit remake. They did mention in a recent community blog post that when it comes to zombies before COD Next, we're at least going to be getting some new info about the OG characters, the Wonder vehicle itself, and a new way to reward hardcore players. I'm sure there'll also be a bunch of other details. Aside from that, I could expect, let's say, an intro cutscene or a gameplay trailer, and a big dedicated blog talking about all the new gameplay systems. They'll probably spread that out even beyond this upcoming week before the COD Next event on September the 30th. But as a reminder, I'll be live every single day this week in the case there is any marketing, and I'll of course make plenty of follow-up videos breaking down what we end up learning. Now, something I'm hoping they talk a little bit more about with the Zombies reveal week, or maybe just at COD Next, is the fact that zombies are going to be included in the Endgame expansion that you will be unlocking at the end of the campaign. For those that are unfamiliar with Endgame, it's going to be a new experience that Treyarch's really never done before, but is kind of what I would call a hybrid between DMZ, Modern Warfare Zombies, and a pinch of Blackout. So although there's 11 linear co-op missions that you can play with your friends, after you beat those missions, you're going to be unlocking a bonus mode that is actually going to be getting updates over the course of Black Ops 7's life cycle, and it's known as Endgame, where you can play on the entirety of the big Avalon space with up to 31 other people. So yes, it'll be a 32-player endless server. There's no gas cloud, there's no actual inventory, so it's not quite an extraction experience, but you could exfil inside of this mode. Now, while there isn't a backpack, there's still going to be an operator rank-like system, similar to the exfil streaks we saw in Modern Warfare Zombies, and kind of like the exfil streaks we also saw in DMZ, where as you successfully exfil within this mode, you'll be leveling up your operator, which will give you a bunch of new enhancements and abilities that you're going to need to actually take on several bosses in this mode. So from a narrative standpoint, it seems like we find out the guild's pretty bad in the BO7 campaign, and this endgame experience canonically is us just cleaning up what is left of the guild in the entirety of Avalon. Now, tonight's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Detonated recently partnered with Raid just at the perfect time with the new TMNT crossover event. You can unlock all 4 turtles, April O'Neil, and even Master Shredder himself, which comes with an exclusive dungeon that you could jump into today. I had a blast covering the TMNT Call of Duty event just a few months back, so we're currently on the grind to unlock all new crossover characters while also beating Raid's single-player campaign. You can also join my clan, the Bomb Shelter, so that we could join up and defeat some tougher bosses while competing against other teams. I'll be uploading plenty of live gameplays over on the second channel, Detonated, while you can also use my QR code to download Raid and unlock a ton of free rewards right when you jump in. Oh my god, the Foot Clan. Oh my god, we had just enough to finish the second stage. Wow, dude. That was, okay, I was nervous on that one. I was real nervous on that one. But feel free to also use the link down below in this video's description or the pinned comment, and thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. But something we saw briefly in the Direct, thankfully, which I hope they expand upon in some future marketing, is that zombies are actually featured inside of this experience, and you're gonna need some of your best operators or ranked up operators. Just to clarify, you can only rank up your operators within this mode, not any other. You're gonna need your absolute best squad to go in and defeat some of these bosses. Now, before we get into more nitty-gritty when it comes to Endgame, I do want to mention that what I really like about this Endgame experience is that at least during the launch window, it's going to be like unlocking Nacht and Toten all over again from World at War Zombies, where you beat the campaign and you unlock something special. Call of Duty really hasn't done something like this, at least not in a while, where you are rewarded for beating the entirety of the campaign. And ironically, just like the original Zombies mode in World at War, a couple of months after the launch of the game, if you hadn't beat the campaign, they ended up just unlocking the Zombies mode for everybody, especially when the map pack started releasing with additional Zombies DLCs. Luckily though, if you don't beat the Black Ops 7 campaign, then at some point during the post-launch cycle, you'll be able to jump into Endgame regardless. Now, it's going to be recommended you do run through those 11 missions so that you get familiar with campaign, you get your operators upgraded. But if you're somebody that just cares about zombies, you don't play campaign, and then you see some cool zombie bosses that people are facing, or you see some awesome post-launch support that the mode is getting, then you'll be able to jump into Endgame without even beating campaign at some point in the future. Now, if I had to make a prediction, I do think we're going to see a lot of zombie creators out there probably look into Endgame about, I want to say, a week or two after they've fully gone through transit, the farm survival experience, and whatever other secrets are lying in the game. Now, over at the studio, Treyarch didn't compare Endgame to DMZ at all, which I think I know why. We'll touch on that in a second, but they did mention Modern Warfare Zombies and Blackout. Although this isn't a battle royale with PvP gameplay, it's still a big open space that Treyarch really hasn't done outside of Outbreak from Cold War or MW3, but like Blackout in the sense that there will be plenty of secrets to discover within this mode, maybe something like the character missions, but what I believe they implied pretty heavily is that you're going to be seeing act mission-like objectives within the Endgame experience. So if you guys remember from Modern Warfare Zombies, the act missions actually provided quite a bit of replayability, especially during that launch window, and I believe if Treyarch didn't have to step off of MW3 to work on Black Ops 6, you probably would have saw a ton more act missions added throughout the entirety of MW3's life cycle, but unfortunately, when Act 4 got introduced in Season 1, it was just like a mission or two, and then they slowly added a few of them here and there over the course of the rest of the 5 seasons afterwards, but we certainly didn't get too many bonus act missions added in, as we saw with the launch window of MW3. But you can bet that with the structure of Endgame having 3 different tiered zones, there's tier 2, 3, and 4, again, that's a tier above what we saw in MW3, which only had tiers 1 through 3, you can bet that some of the tougher zombie bosses will be featured in tier 4 zones and could be anything pulled from our previous round-based maps or some of the new enemy types that we will be seeing inside of Black Ops 7 exclusively. What immediately comes to mind as well is the Blightfather boss from the cemetery. We saw this back in Blackout, and I know when Alcatraz Portals also got a big Summer Zombies update, there were hordes of zombies roaming around, even Brutus himself. It was cool to see zombie enemy types roaming around a battle royale space, but in this case, you could work with other squads if you would like to, like Modern Warfare Zombies, since it's not PvP. And you're also not really having to worry about a backpack or inventory. Exfilling is still important, but that's probably why DMZ wasn't mentioned, as I was getting to earlier in this video. They didn't really compare this to DMZ because you can't fight other players, you can't steal their loot, and there isn't a big inventory management that you also have to worry about while playing this mode. Now, when I think about Endgame from a zombies perspective, I feel like this is an opportunity for Treyarch to quote-unquote revive the spirit of Blackout, since they haven't really been able to make their own Warzone map, which I would think would also be littered with a bunch of zombie Easter eggs, a mystery box, wonder weapons, bosses. This is their chance to do that again. Unfortunately, the only Warzone map Treyarch has ever made is Area 99, and it only lasted like, what, a season and a half, and then got vaulted seemingly forever. But with the fact that this will be getting updates over the course of 6 seasons, or hopefully 6 seasons, and with the fact that there'll be global progression between all game modes including campaign, there'll be a dedicated mastery camel grind for campaign and obviously endgame, with all that in mind, this is essentially Treyarch's new iteration of Outbreak, but outside of the actual zombies mode. Obviously there won't be rounds inside of this experience, and it's going to be a very different style mode that we haven't really seen in a Treyarch game before. But I've seen lots of burning questions over the last couple of weeks asking if Outbreak could maybe make a return inside of BO7, and while it's always possible, while they could always just take the big Avalon space and say, hey, here's something like Cold War Outbreak or Modern Warfare Zombies from Urzikstan, I do think this will be the Outbreak of Black Ops 7, and it'll offer some of the best elements of regular zombies, Outbreak, and even a pinch of Blackout. I've also been vocal about this before, but every leak that has surfaced in the past few months regarding a big open world Outbreak for BO7, I believe was just a misinterpreted leak for what is going to be zombies content within the endgame mode. I just think it would be a bit redundant to have this mode, which already features zombies, and then do another version of Outbreak on this same map. If they want to do a classic style Outbreak on a different space, then sure, but I just don't think this will be the game to do that or offer such a mode. I think this game will still have a big focus on round base, as did Black Ops 6. 2026. And you know what, sure, Outbreak was really successful with Cold War, regardless if folks want to cope about the fact there was a bunch of free trials, and I know some folks will also say that MW3 Zombies wasn't all that great, but I do want to remind you about how warm and well-received the launch window was. Even Season 1 with the big Red Worm boss fight. Those could be the kind of updates you could expect, maybe with an endgame in future seasons, where they add a big zombie boss, or they add something surprising that all players will come to enjoy. So I think there is a place for open world gameplay so long as it doesn't take away from the core regular round-based gameplay and some of the other modes that we've all come to love. But the last thing we'll end with is that Black Ops 7, at least to me, feels like, so far, it's taking a page out of the Black Ops 4 book, where you're gonna see and feel the presence of zombies in other modes outside of round-based. There's a rumor, of course, about the Resurgence map for Season 1 being expanded Liberty Falls. That's one area where you'll feel zombies' presence in, absolutely. Hopefully that's riddled with Easter eggs, but then on the flip side, we have this open-world campaign expansion, again, separate from the 11 linear missions, which will also have zombies. So even when there's a bit of a drought, maybe there's not too much new zombies content being added for round-based, there's not a new DLC map, even during those moments where zombie players who are like, hey, I don't really like multiplayer or Warzone, there could still be something for you to enjoy that's also going to be getting updates, hopefully, with even more zombies content over the course of 2026. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on everything we know so far about the endgame experience coming to Black Ops 7? Thought I would make this more of a zombie-focused video, considering I haven't seen much discussion about the zombies component that we are going to see. As I also said, I'd expect plenty of other zombie creators to probably jump into this after a couple of weeks following the launch of the game. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.